This is Mark Spears with ESPN's Andscape, and I have the esteemed pleasure to be talking to one of my big brothers, man, friend, and just one of the greatest journalists that has ever worked for ESPN, and is certainly deserving to be in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame as a Gowdy winner. Um, Mr. Mark Jones. What's going on, Mark? How you
Man,
doing?
it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. It's great to be being interviewed by you, Mark. I think this is maybe only the second time that we've had a chance to kind of hang out and chop it up in this kind of format. So, hey, you know what? After doing this for 34 years, it's nice to be able to stumble on something new and wonderful like this.
Yeah, so the main reason for this conversation, let's just talk about this first, is on February 5th on ESPN. I mean, hey, we're gonna watch because of Wemby and Trey Young, but it's, the San Antonio Spurs at the Atlanta Hawks, February 5th, Black History Month. And what makes it historical for us for ESPN is that it actually is going to be I'll let you tell everybody.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
going to be an all black production crew. And from the forward facing people, the announcers, talent, to people behind the scenes, producer, director, associate producer, associate director, and on down the line, right down to statistician and stage manager. We will have an all black production crew. And I have to say this, Mark, as I walk into State Farm Arena on that day, my heart will be full. My heart will be very grateful. My heart will be very proud because in 34 years of doing this, I've never been a part of such a unique broadcast with such talent in front of and behind the cameras. I've called the NBA Finals, a couple of games in the NBA Finals twice, and this is right up there in terms of career accomplishments and significance as well.
Yeah. Any significance to you of it being in Atlanta as well?
In the shadows of the civil rights movement, right? And with Dr. Martin Luther King, Ebenezer Baptist Church right down the street, it's all going to be a great confluence of a celebration of Black History Month as part of Black History Month to see that Dr. King's dream has at least partially come to fruition in being able to have people judged by our talents, our vast talents, our immense talents, our boundless talents, and not by the color of our skin. I think Dr. King would be very pleased to know that it's happening right in his own backyard in Atlanta.
Yeah, Mark, a lot of people don't know about you is that you're from Canada,
Yeah.
Toronto,
Yeah.
and you also play college basketball. Um, how much does having a basketball background, because when I listen to you, the X's and O's that you speak of, man, it's almost like you've been a head coach before. How much does having played college basketball help you in analyzing the game now?
Man, I've been, I grew up in Toronto, like you said, Mark, and not a lot of people know this. I don't talk about it a lot, but I've actually represented Canada in several international basketball competitions from the time I was a teenager up until the time I was probably 20 years old. Played my collegiate basketball at York University in Toronto, and we've seen the talent that's come out of that city lately. There's always been a great pipeline of talent coming out of Toronto, but I think having been right in the guts of the game, um, being able to be attuned to a lot of the nuances of the game has helped me in my play-by-play documenting the game. And when you are able to kind of dissect it on a player level, I think it helps. I stay in my lane as the play-by-play guy, but I'm able to lead my analyst in a direction that is probably, I would say, with modesty, on a little bit of a higher plane, having played the game. To be able to say to Richard Jefferson, when we do the game, hey, Richard, they've been coming off that pin down on the baseline a lot. Why is it working so well? I think being able to see, hey, Richard, this horn set that they're running with two guys at the elbows, why is that not working for them right now? Or why is that one of their favorite sets? To be able to know that I've been on the floor, played, and to recognize at a different level what's happening has been, I think, a bit of an advantage.
Yeah. When did you decide that you wanted to go into sports journalism?
I grew up a huge basketball fan. I was growing up in Toronto. It was the Buffalo Braves, Mark. It was Bob McAdoo. It was Bert Everett. It was Ernie DiGregorio. And, I grew up on the Buffalo Braves and their battles against the Celtics back in the days, because we would always get the television stations from Buffalo, New York, and that was their NBA team. So they left and became I think it was the San Diego Clippers before the Los Angeles Clippers. But, my love for basketball in particular was always a thing from the time that I was a young boy, coming home from church, racing home from the 12 o'clock service to make sure that my brother and I were in front of the TV at 1 o'clock to watch the Celtics play against, the 76ers and the Dr. J time. And even previous to that, that really helped my development for my love of sports. And I think when I got into college, I can remember it really distinctly, Mark, where I played my last game at York University. We were eliminated in the conference championship game. I was the player of the game. I was being interviewed by a reporter whose name was Peter Watts. And after we finished the interview, I said, hey, Mr. Watts, man, I'm a senior. My basketball career is over. I didn't think I was wanted to go play overseas in Europe. I said, do you have any jobs at your television station for a guy like me? And he said, young man, I want you to call me Monday morning at 9 a.m. So I picked up the phone Monday morning at 8:59 and gave him a call. I got an interview as an editorial assistant, basically just watching games, logging games at TSN. And that was kind of the start of it for me, Mark. I always knew that I wanted to be involved in sports in my life, but that gave me an opportunity. And I worked my way up from making $35 a day, watching basketball games. I thought I was in heaven, man, because I'm getting to watch, NBA games from 7 o'clock until 2 a.m. in the morning to write up highlight packages for the Sports Center show that night. And I'm getting paid money for it. So that to me was kind of something that propelled me to want to go even a little bit further. 2 years later, one of the reporters that had been on the beat at TSN up and quit, just in the middle of the day, he up and quit. And they needed somebody to go down to the arena to do some interviews with the hockey team there, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they always knew that I was eager. So it was like, hey, call Mark Jones. He'll go do this interview. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Jumped to the car, went down the interview, wrote up some voice tracks, went into the edit booth with the editor, slapped it all together, did a stand-up on camera, and they loved it. And that was the beginning of my sports reporter career.
Yeah. How did you make the transition to play-by-play?
From sports reporter, field reporter to anchor, having anchored the NBA Countdown show for a number of years and various iterations of it. I had a lot of fun doing that because that was like a highlight show. That was what I was doing at TSN and also Sports Center at ESPN. But there became a window available for me to call games. And, with the support of various people at ESPN, they gave me the play-by-play headset. And that transition was even better for me because it put me right in front of the athletes. It put me at the game. The studio is fantastic. I enjoyed the studio, and a lot of people love the studio, but being at the game courtside was something that really kind of got my juice going. So that transition was fun. It taught me how to use a different type of skill set to be able to document the game in a very entertaining and informational fashion is really the essence of the job. And I like to bring my own type of vernacular to it too, which makes it even more fun.
Speaking of the vernacular, I don't know if it's from hanging out with your daughter. I mean, where did you get your incredible vocabulary from? And then two, how do you keep up on what the latest rap song is at your young age?
You know what it is, Mark? People strangely enough think it's different and it's weird, but it's not for me because I mean, if I showed you my playlist right now, it would have Moneybag Yo, it would have Finesse Two Times. I just got it up on a little bit of Larry June. My daughter got me up on Larry June, right? Bay Area dude. It would have a lot of Boss Man D-Lo. So that's always who I've been. I mean, I've always enjoyed the hip hop culture. So for me to be calling a basketball game and say, "Oh man, Anthony Edwards looked at his wrist and said he got time today," I just like to have fun wordplay when I'm doing a broadcast. That's half of it. The other half of it is my vocabulary has always been something that I've always enjoyed using. My father was very fluent. The late great Hugh Jones, my dad, was very fluent in Latin. He was fluent in Spanish, and he, obviously spoke English. My grandfather was an English teacher, so languages were always big in our household. And growing up, if my brother and I wanted to ask what a certain word meant, it meant we were going to get a 5-minute lecture from my father about the Latin root of the word and the Spanish root of the word and how to use it in English. So I always like to say, man, people use 20% of the words in the English language. I like to use 21, Can you do something for me? No, no.
Yeah. When you look at the unfortunately, when you look at the landscape of black play-by-play guys, you're one of a handful,
Mm.
or like probably could count on.
We could use more. We could use a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, on one hand, maybe two. How many in all three major professional sports? What's the state of that? And uh, how do you grow more black play-by-play?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I get a little disappointed when I see the dearth of black play-by-play announcers. I equate the play-by-play announcer to the point guard in basketball or the quarterback, even in football, right? Your play-by-play announcer is the guy that drives a lot of the narratives, the predominant storyteller of a broadcast to be able to take the player out of the jersey, humanize him, and make the fans connect and cheer for that said player. We need more black play-by-play announcers. I mean, I'll just say that. People will look at a booth and see, a white person and a black person side by side and wonder what the issue is. But I think it can be very convenient at times to have a black analyst who's a former player, but having that black quarterback as your play-by-play guy, I think that we can be a little bit more intentional about putting a person of color in that role because, like I said, they drive the narratives a lot of time and tell the stories. And, hey, listen, when it comes to the NBA, 77% of the NBA is black. And I feel that that's a wonderful asset that I've got is that I spend my summers in the gyms watching 77%, a lot of the players in the NBA work out. I'm sitting beside them and their trainers and their agents and their moms and their dads and their girlfriends and family members. So I think there's a natural connection there. And to be able to get those organic stories across from the play-by-play chair, I think that's a wonderful asset for me to have. And I think that play-by-play announcing across the NBA and across sports would benefit from having more black play-by-play announcers.
What would you tell a
In
young?
terms to answer your other part too, Mark, to be able to grow that role, I think it's happening. Maybe a little bit slowly right now, but I think it's happening. We've got young black men out there who are extremely talented, doing the job, and we just need more.
Yeah,
Um,
Tiffany Green's doing a good job, great
Pardon
job.
me?
Tiffany, you got women like Tiffany
Yes,
Green.
yes, yes. Tiffany Green, Michael Grady, Eric Collins.
Yeah,
There are, Chris Miller with the Washington Wizards. We have shown that black folks can do this and do it an extremely high level. I would put any of those aforementioned people against anybody in terms of talent.
yeah,
And Mark, in terms of growing it, I think it's just a matter of being out front and having visibility because I grew up watching Bryant Gumbel and James Brown, right? And I'll never forget meeting Bryant Gumbel in Toronto. He was covering the Major League Baseball playoffs, and I was a Cub reporter covering the ALCS at the time. And I walked up into him and introduced myself. I said, Mr. Gumbel, my name's Marc Jones. I work here at TSN in Toronto, man. I would love to do what you do someday. And he looked me dead in my eye and he said, in the clubhouse, he said, young man, I watched your sportscast last night. I think you're ready right now. And he blew me away with that story. He probably won't remember it, but I do because now whenever young black men come up to me and talk about wanting to do play by play like I'm doing right now, I make sure to take the time to inspire them and give them a few words of encouragement and a roadmap on how to get to where I'm at right now.
yeah. Couple more questions. You have a brother in the business, you have a daughter in the business.
Right.
Can you talk about the Jones? And you have a niece that does PR for the Clippers, right?
Right. Yeah, man. Jones
Living in
family.
your house, I heard.
Our, hey, listen, man. Our homes stay on one channel, ESPN and NBA TV, and that's it. We're a sports family, basketball family, through and through. My brother and I grew up in front of the television watching sports all the time, in particular the NBA. We would go to basketball camps. My brother played collegiate basketball at York University, and he was part of the original broadcast team for the Toronto Raptors when they first came into existence in Toronto. And it just became a natural career progression for him. I used to call him Crazy Joe Clark because he used to be a school principal, and that's the way he operated. But he's taken that kind of enthusiasm and direction and energy into broadcasting, and he does NBA TV Canada. He does the radio commentary for the Toronto Raptors. Has been doing it from day one, and there's nobody more up to speed and has the pulse of the Toronto Raptors more than Paul Desmond Jones, my older brother. I'm really proud of him, and he does a fantastic job. And my daughter Sophia, she grew up sitting beside my wife and I watching NBA games deep into the night. So getting into basketball commentary and sideline reporting role and analyst role for the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team at the University of San Francisco is something that she couldn't wait to do, to get out of school and do. And she's doing that now. And it's nice to be able to mentor her because she did that on her own. I didn't push her towards that. She did that on her own. And I want to thank you for the great mentorship that you've taken with her and the direction and inspiration you've given her over her 4 years at San Jose State while she was still a student athlete there on the women's basketball team, man. Love for that. Much love and respect for that.
Yeah.
And she's well on her way right now. She's well on her way. And my goddaughter, my niece, Justine Jones, man, she's talented. Former volleyball player at York University. And after some years with the Raptors, now with the Los Angeles Clippers. And she's doing the best notes in the business right now. She's very conscientious and very detailed. She got that athlete mentality and taking that to the Los Angeles Clippers with her and making that department even better.
Two more questions. One, let's talk about the game real quick.
Sure.
how fun is it to call a Victor Wembanyama game? And then, obviously also Trey Young is amazing to watch as well. And can you got two guys shooting from the logo in this
Yeah,
game probably, but
yeah,
uh, talk about calling Victor and seeing Trey as well. What should the viewer expect in this game?
man. Watching Victor Wembanyama play basketball now is something still that we're all getting used to, me included, in terms of some of the distance that he covers on a simple, mid post drop step. He can execute that drop step from the second box as opposed to the lower box, like most guys. The ground that he covers is crazy, and to watch him at times, throw the ball off the backboard and to himself and slam it home is something that I think as a play-by-play announcer, I'm still getting used to it, and I think the league at whole is too. His three-point shooting is something that is breathtaking too. I don't know if we've ever seen a guy with that kind of size, that kind of skill, that kind of shooting range, and to watch him operate right now with the San Antonio Spurs with just a few guardrails. To watch him develop into what he's ultimately going to be is fun. I'm very fortunate and grateful, Mark, to be able to say that years from now we saw him as a rookie, we saw him as a second year player, because I think in short time this league is going to be his. He's changed the equation of basketball at both ends of the floor too, averaging 5 blocks per game, and I think it's not going to be too soon before the San Antonio Spurs are going to be back to their normal contending selves. As for the Atlanta Hawks, man, when you're watching a Hawks game, you got to keep your eye on Trey Young. I don't think there is a better pick and roll player in the NBA right now. I don't think there's a player that throws lob passes any better and shoots floaters any better than he does right now. And I like the way this year that he's trusted his teammates a little bit more. I think he's pulled back on some of his aggression offensively to the benefit of the team, and he's used wonderful discernment and decision making, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic matchup between these two teams. And anytime Trey Young is on the floor, you got to make sure that you're picking him up early and you're not looking down at your notes when he crosses midcourt, because he's liable to pull at any time. And that Atlanta crowd is always live too. That's I like coming to Atlanta games, right? Because you're going to see, you're going to see 2 Chainz, you're going to see Lil Boosie, you might see a few other stars and celebrities in the crowd courtside.
Yeah. How many years is this for you doing NBA?
34 years at ESPN, man. I'm waiting for the gold watch still.
um, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, the Gowdy Award, has never had a black individual that has won the Gowdy Award. If you were, I think your resume speaks for itself. But if you could get in consideration for that award, is that something that would mean something to you?
That would be an incredibly highly esteemed honor. It goes without saying, I would love that. I would be extremely honored to even be nominated for the Gowdy Award, to be able to show the young black men and women coming up behind me that this is something that is attainable, to be recognized by your peers in the business at the height of the business is an incredible honor. I would certainly cherish that. Would it come my way? Yes, I would, because I think about some of the greats that have won that award, and to be the first black person on the microphone and play-by-play chair doing it would be wonderful.
And my last question, if you could give us one of your amazing words to describe this all black crew, what would you use?
Wow. One word. I would say prestigious. I would say, serendipity comes to mind, because I'll be in a state of, euphoria the whole day. I will, to be able to be side by side with with family, with culture. Um, just delightfully diverse. You know, you can take any one of those. You know, take your pick, man.
All right, brother. I love
Yeah,
you, man.
yeah, yeah. I hope that works for you, Mark Spears.
It
Yeah,
definitely works for you.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
You got it.